Hello, and welcome back to Crabbining, the run that's all about Klaus Krabbington's journey to beat Skyrim using only mudcrabs. Naturally, it wouldn't be a mudcrab video without entering a small tunnel, only to be body blocked by mudcrabs and promptly murdered by a saber cat cub. Bad kitty. I then get distracted by this wolf and absolutely yeet him across the map. I hunt ethically. I hunt even more ethically. I meet back with Delphine for the next part of the quest, and make sure the innkeeper feels included. Orgnar has ascended cook status and become a higher being. He is the pot man. He was once a regular man, and was bitten by a radioactive pot, and gained the powers of a cast iron pot, thus making him Pot Man, a hero to end all heroes. I finished the dialogue with Delphine. Toggle no clip because my mudcrabs refuse to let me leave this godforsaken basement and help Pot Man further harness his powers. Unfortunately, my experiment goes poorly, and he loses his pot powers, turning him back into a regular man. This displeases me, and I rub my head on the pheasant and rabbits that are hung from the ceiling. I make sure to once again say hi to the Riverwood blacksmith, as we have a very healthy friendship. Shifting gears a bit, I end up in solitude and talk to the only person who realizes that maybe a crabman isn't the right person to infiltrate the Thalmor embassy.
You're who she picked?
Arriving at the embassy, I realized that my crabs were also smuggled in. They are my emotional support crabs, and as such, it would frankly be rude of the Thalmor to not allow my mudcrabs into their party. I give the party patrons my usual greeting of throwing all their stuff onto the floor and hiding in a corner, much like I do at real parties. Sneaking into the back, I don some Thalmor gear to sneak past the guards. It fits like a glove. I am truly a master of disguise. Now in the courtyard, I somehow convince this master of the arcane arts to listen to any of the gibberish coming out of my character's mouth to allow me inside this building. The true irony of this situation is in all my hours of playing this game, I never once knew that I could just put on the wizard robes and it would work as a disguise. The fact that this is the thing that manages to stealth through this bit is truly a testament to the superiority of mudcrabs. Now inside, I once again use my super stealth skills and find the best hiding spot ever. Casually in a dragon fight now, I'm reminded of how insane the hitboxes of mudcrabs are when they collide with this dragon. Making it back to Riverwood, we engage in thrilling dialogue with Delphine from behind this door, and she sends us on our way to save Esbern. Finding myself in the sewers of Riften, I am reminded of how insanely squishy I am after being one-tapped by a skeever. Reloading my save, I drop a crab directly on top of it to avoid repeating my grisly death. Somehow being able to cut through trained Thalmor wizards and soldiers like butter after getting one tapped by a rat, I meet up with Esbern despite my mudcrabs attempting to keep us apart. Immediately after almost getting murdered by a skeever, I am instead murdered by this guy's fists. Back in Riverwood, I once again take part in the thrilling dialogue. I also cannot express the pure joy it fills me with every time I enter a cramped interior. Before I'm even in the room, I just hear shit flying everywhere.
Thank you so much for taking care of those thieves. The Riverwood trader is back to the way it used to be.
We assassinate this assassinating assassin before the Assassin's Guild assassinates us with this assassin. I got your number, Astrid. I'm coming for you. On our way to God knows where, I get attacked by this dragon. This is unfortunate for the dragon, as the mudcrab entourage goes to work on bullying a school bus-sized fire-breathing reptile. I absolutely toss this Thalmor. This other dragon murders me, which is unfortunate for me because I like being alive. This time I fight a human and die. This time I do the opposite of that and hide in this tent thing, because everything around me wants to bash my squishy body into baked crab rangoons. Sick of getting murdered by dragons and foreskin tribal Ooga Booga people, I simply charge into the cave and say screw you all. Now inside, I realize that it may take a while for Esbern and Daphne to get into the cave, but I simply take a long nap while they fight outside. Truly, no matter what the problem is, a well-deserved nap is always the solution. This is by far my favorite puzzle room. I activate the blood seal and leak some of my secret crab sauce onto the circle. After finishing up with Grandma and Grandpa Blade, I make my way back to Whiterun and make a ton of potions for money and upgrade some equipment. Also, fun fact, if you just never talk to these two guys, they will never leave this spot. On my way back to High Hrothgar, I ran into this horrifying giant troll homunculi. I thought for sure he was gonna try, and probably successfully, turn me into mush. But he was just vibing, so I left him be. While we are on the topic of the highest mountain in the game, I cannot express the absolute nightmare that is going up and down this bad boy. I think well over 2 hours of this run is just me walking up and down this behemoth. Naturally, this doesn't make for good gameplay footage, so enjoy some mudcrabs stomping a frost troll into the snow. Now at High Hrothgar, I learned the Clear Skies shout to unlock the way to the Greybeard's leader, Parthenax. Naturally, I'm not supposed to use this as it's not technically in the rules, but it doesn't do any damage, so I believe it to be fair game. We meet Parthenax. He teaches us a naughty dragon word, which we immediately use on him. In the process of learning this word, he sets my mudcrab on fire. My mudcrabs, being the fearsome units that they are, begin to throw down with old Parthenax. He will no longer talk to me, as he is too preoccupied trying to murder my mudcrabs. Naturally, we all know my crustaceous companions would stomp Parthenax into the mud, but we need him alive to progress the story. I end up having to reload my save and ensure none of my boys will be in the blast radius. After finishing the dialogue, I begin to yeet myself down the mountain. Now safely down the mountain, and with only a few broken bones, I find myself in Winterhold mingling with the townspeople.
Yes.
I end up having to go very far north for the next part of the quest and nearly freeze to death. Survival mode has truly added some fun spice to this run. At our next spot, I encounter not just a dragon, but a dwarven mechanical dragon. I truly cannot express just how squishy I am, and I instead choose to run away and hide in the dwarven dungeon. We murder the skooma addict. We murder a dwarven sphere. I then somehow murder a ghost. Spooky. I then faceplant into a wall after one of my mudcrabs triggers a trap. This dungeon is going swimmingly. As this is an absolutely massive dungeon, I end up getting enough XP to level up my character and pick this absolute unit of a perk, which allows me to learn all effects of an alchemy ingredient at once. Naturally, this results in me eating a massive amount of the random assorted garbage I've been carrying with me during this run. Klaus Krabbington is now extremely high. Now at the end of the dungeon, we encounter the final boss, yet another ghost. Only this ghost one-taps me on multiple occasions with what appear to be dwarven cogs. He also has the ability to summon his very own dwarven sphere, making him quite the force to be reckoned with. No joke, I think this fight took me well over an hour, as myself and my merry band of mudcrabs are entirely unable to do enough damage to this absolute unit. I managed to kind of get him trapped in the corner, but yet again he murders me. Eventually, we managed to get him stuck in a different corner, and he glitches out and is unable to continue destroying us. That said, he had the last laugh, as his goo pile clipped through the floor and I was unable to reach it without toggling no-clip. Now with the Elder Scroll in our back pocket, I encounter a blood dragon on my ascent to the throat of the world. Naturally, my mudcrabs being the fearsome units they are, engage in combat with the dragon. However, they very much so like to try and get under its tootsies repeatedly and make it glitch the hell out. Now at the throat of the world, we read the Elder Scroll. For some reason, my mudcrabs have managed to transcend the very fabric of time and appear to be in the past with the Nordic heroes. After watching the incredibly bugged animation, that I'm sure has nothing to do with my bugged-ass mudcrabs, the heroes prepare to fight Alduin. However, he never approaches.
Alduin approaches.
I wait a good 2 minutes or so here, and it appears the game has, in fact, broken. Todd has also managed to transcend time and space and is trying to trap me and my mudcrabs in the past. After a bit of time troubleshooting, I end up moving the quest forward with the console. Sadly, I wasn't recording during this time and actually managed to see one of my mudcrabs fighting in the past. Now able to fight Alduiner, I also realize a new issue. I'm at the very highest point in all of Tamriel, in survival mode with no way to keep myself warm. Normally at max health, I can tank at least one of Alduin's meteors from above. However, as I am getting colder by the minute, this is no longer an option for me. After a bit of trying and failing miserably in this boss fight, I come to the realization that the rate at which I lose health is much faster than how quickly I can kill Alduin. Also not a very fun fact, it's not possible to build a campfire while in combat. Thankfully, the game autosaved right after the Elder Scroll scene, so I reload from there and am able to place one while Alduin informs me of his intentions to tear my face off and make it into a nice lampshade. Sadly, during this fight, we also suffer our first casualty. Try as I might to not murder my own mudcrabs, this one decided it was the perfect time to walk towards me while I was casting a fire crab. I even try to aim high with this attack so I don't have this happen. I've also been in this fight for an absurd amount of time, so I take the L and don't save scum. RIP, homie. I definitely take solace in the fact that if we were going to lose anyone in a fight, it was during this one, as dying to the World Eater is truly an honorable death for any mudcrab. After mourning the loss of a true hero of Skyrim, we return to Whiterun and fail a completely pointless speech check to convince Jarl Balls to allow me to use his castle to catch a dragon, as he will agree to it regardless of passing this persuade chance or not. I also open up all of the display cases for no other reason than I am an XP whore. Our current goal is now to convince both the Imperials and Stormcloaks to come to a truce, for us to be able to catch us a dragon. Not sure why that matters, but what do I know? I'm just some crab. After Ulfric agrees to the meeting, I make sure to give him my usual goodbye of knocking all of his shit on the floor. Now in High Hrothgar, I get my formal greetings out of the way and get the meeting started. As my mudcrabs are indeed a major part of the ecosystem of Skyrim, we also have one of our members present to represent us.
To think that I would sit down at the same table with that Thalmor bitch.
The negotiations are going swimmingly. After the meeting has concluded, and I've sufficiently pissed off both factions at the table, I have a quick word with Esbern. Returning back to Whiterun, I catch Jarl Balin in the middle of a bountiful meal of air. He eats only air because I have stolen all the food in his castle. We summon Odahviing. I attempt to body block the dragon from giving this guard a free skydiving lesson and fail in a most spectacular fashion. My mudcrabs begin going to town on Odahviing and use their special powers of shoving him into random directions. Jarl Balsack is valiantly hiding in the corner. He does not know he is an essential NPC.
Lure it into the trap.
After we drain the old health bar to 0, I realize we in fact have a problem. Odahviing has glitched out and will not walk into the trap so we can talk to him, and instead stares at me, shaking his head in a disapproving manner. This is because he has brain damage from crabs being on top of his head. After a while, he comes to and realizes he's a dragon, and gets a fresh health bar. It was at this moment I realized that I am going to have the boys hang out outside to be able to trap our dragon. Arriving at our final destination before Sovngarde, we see the finish line of our journey. The only problem, however, is the scores and scores of undead, and a whole ass dragon in my way. The elements also fight me the entire time as, shocker, armor made out of chitin is not very insulating. Also, Gore didn't come along, so there's that. I die here. A lot. After a while of getting murdered repeatedly, I come to the conclusion that Klaus Krabbington is not yet strong enough for this area. Frankly, it's amazing I've made it this far at all. Taking a break from recording, I spend a few hours leveling up, so I might be able to make this area a bit easier. While I'm power leveling, I get distracted by this cart. YouTube's algorithm also likes it when you feed it your sweet comments, so please comment. Damn boy, you do be floating though.
Papas isn't too friendly with strangers, but you seem alright.
You're new around here, so I'll go easy on you. But don't get on my bad side.
I end up spending an absolutely absurd amount of time playing with this cart. Naturally, this doesn't help us get any closer to Alduin, but I find it quite entertaining to say the least, and I shan't dare deprive the people of such a spectacle. The cart, much like all things, is finally sick of my shit and teleports me into the air, where I fall to my death. Now much stronger than before from leveling up my cart ability, I employ my 5th and final form, using the Become Ethereal shout to simply run past all the enemies. Now safely inside the mini dungeon, or so I thought, I am greeted by literally all the enemies I just ran past as they begin pouring through the gate like me running to the bathroom after Taco Bell. This actually made for a cool moment though, as my mudcrabs make an impromptu phalanx to hold back the undead. Naturally, we are no match and are eventually cut down. Finally, through the nightmare that is the dungeon, I immediately yeet myself through the portal into Sovngarde before the dragon priest can stop me. The fight with Soom was fairly uneventful, as he spends quite a bit of time wailing on my mudcrabs. Now finding ourselves inside the Hall of Valor, I immediately go to work ruining these people's afterlife by knocking literally everything onto the floor. Even the greatest of Nordic heroes cannot escape my wrath. I also realize that dead people do not in fact need food, so I simply take it from them. What are they gonna do anyways? They're already dead. At long last, we leave the hall and begin to engage the World Eater in combat. Honestly, bringing him down is easier than trying to do that entire segment we were just stuck on. With the World Eater finally defeated, we can once and for all say, for sure, that you can in fact beat Skyrim with only mudcrabs. Wow, what a journey. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched this far through, I appreciate it more than you know. This project has been so much fun to make. I absolutely love making videos in this style, and I'm definitely going to keep doing it. I'm probably going to do a Starfield video next. I've got some other stuff planned. I want it to be a surprise, naturally. If you guys have any challenge runs you want to see me do that maybe some other YouTubers done, like I know Ambiguous Amphibian did a one tile challenge on Zomboid. That seems like that could be kind of fun. Yeah, just let me know. I'm down for anything. That's gonna have to do it for this video. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Have a good one. Peace.